Hello, dear colleagues. I'm glad to present our work on the development of database for photo identification of LADA seal. We use this methodology to identify different individuals. Specifically, ringed seal has a unique pattern on its skin, which remains the same for the whole life of the animal. Our Finnish colleagues have successfully used this kind of approach to study Saimaan ringed seal in Saimaa Lake, but the abundance of ringed seal is about 7,000 individuals, while it's only about 400 individuals for Saimaa ringed lake. So we have a lot of work to do. We can compare these sides, different sides of animals. So we separate the left side, the right side, the back, and the front or the bottom, the stomach of an animal. In this case, these animals cannot be compared because these are different views from different sides. We had an expedition to Eastern Sosnowy Island, and we wanted to solve some matters using this photo identification approach. First, are there any long-term seal groupings and holdouts which use this island for holdout? Second, how long do they stay there? And how often do they come back to the island? These questions allow us to go to migrating matters. Generally, it is considered that seals migrate around the lake. They spend the winter on the southern part with fast, thick ice, and during summertime, they go to the north, where there is more fish to eat. But there could be some single groups of animals which stay on specific areas of the lake, which is also very interesting to analyze. Here you can see how we collected data. We had our expedition from the 3rd of June till 10th of August 2019. Experience shows, as well as photographs from photo traps, that this approach is very good to count the abundance of animals, but it's not possible to use them for photo identification because it's not possible to discern the patterns on the skin of an animal. Though the images which we got from photo equipment allow us to get a better quality image, and we can use it for photo identification. And now I would like to move to the database itself. The database has images. We separate them into different groups based on the side, left, right, top, and bottom. First, we need to check the animal with the rest of the database within the same project. Then we assign an identification number to a new animal. Then we check different types of viewpoints and projections. If there's something new, we add a new data, maybe sex, maybe text, some kind of comments. If there are no need, then we use the previous identifications. Currently, our database has 142 left sides, 82 right sides, 192 top sides, and 145 bottom sides. This is the blue ones, and the red shows matches for this specific or the respective viewpoints. Then we analyze these images, and we understand that all of these images correlate with 392 individuals. So we have much more unique images, but we have fewer individuals because some of them have photos from different sites. We use this approach, and we don't have a lot of photographs. It's less than 2% of the general population, but in the future, we plan to expand it and have a predominant site or predominant viewpoint, and then match according to this predominant site, either left, right, top, or bottom. We had 14 matches, and one animal was sighted 3 times. We had 6 matches which were on overlapping days, and other intervals took about from 6 to 33 days when the animals were sighted again. We pay attention specifically to the top of the schematic, which shows that probably the animals did not leave the island. Then we wanted to calculate the number of matches which we should have seen, taking into account the probability that all these animals could be seen on the island despite their presence or absence during the day of time. Thus, we should have had about 10 matches for 500 individuals and for 500 image sites. This is the black dotted line. Blue dotted line is the total number of matches, and red line is the line which does not have overlapping matches for the adjacent days. We see the changes of animals during the hollout times. New groups came to the hollout, and then it was changed, it was substituted by another new group. So the old group left and the new group came instead. Our work has to analyze it, and we use certain software which allows us to solve a very important problem when we need to analyze the existing images with the new images. This software provides the necessary images which we should use to see if there are any matches or not. This software allows to use a package application. We can batch download these images. It allows to attune and adjust brightness and contrast, and then it finds seals on all the images. It separates them against their background, and it's easier to see. Then the user uploads these images. The processed images, the user uploads these images to the program, and then software presents similar images with similar individuals. And we wanted to test this using our database for 2019. We uploaded 15 matched images, but unfortunately, the system was able to recognize only 4 matches out of 15, only 26%. That's why the quality is not good enough to be used via this software. But in the future, the more data we have, the more images we have, we will have to expand our database, and we plan to use high quality images, and we plan to substitute bad quality images to good and best quality images if we meet the same individuals. And to conclude, I would like to say that we have collected data on 2019 for Lalaga seal. We have this data in our database. We also had another expedition in 2020. We analyzed 5 islands on this archipelago. Now we analyze all the images which we got in 2020, and we have quite a lot of them. We also implemented a methodology on recognition of these Lalaga ringed seals. We worked with the database, we improved it, and in the future we plan to add images from 2020 to the existing database, which would allow us to assess the abundance of seals which use this archipelago compared to the general population, which should be in Lalaga Lake. We also plan to analyze the data which we get from photo traps, and we want to publish this database open source. Our foreign colleagues will improve their software. They want to improve the accuracy of the software using our images as samples to train their program. And I would like to thank our colleagues. We have our colleagues, University of Eastern Finland and LUT University, who helped us a lot, as well as our sponsors from Russian-European partnership within this grant. And I would be glad to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you, Vladimir. Do we have any questions on the Lalaga seal database? There are no questions in the chat so far, but we do have a question from the website. I would like to ask a question, Vladimir, to Vladimir first. Did you try to use the repeated catch methodology? Because you see the same individual over and over again, you can assess this methodology to have the abundance, to understand the abundance. Answer, yes, we will try to use this methodology in the future, but it's really hard to use this because we cover only 2% of the general population. But we believe that if we analyze the data for 2020, we'll be able to use the methodology you speak about, because we have about 20–30% of the whole population. Thank you. Do we have any more questions to Vladimir? Yes, we have a question from Vladimir Ulichev. Hello, Vladimir. It's great that this kind of database is finally being created. Did you take the images only in one archipelago? It's better, I think it's better to take the whole archipelago, especially the southern coast, to understand the whole population of Lalaga seal. Identification and collection of gene samples is very important to understand the general population. And we from our institute also want to take part in these studies. Answer, well, thank you for your proposal. We are ready for this cooperation. These images, which we collected in 2019, we collected them on one of the islands of Balaan Archipelago. In 2020, we had expeditions to neighboring islands, Vostochny and Sosnowy, Eastern and Western Sosnowy, as well as Krajny and Lisy Islands, which are part of this archipelago. The only thing, we do not have enough funding for future expeditions, but our whole team really wants to go to new expeditions, to new regions of Ladoga, maybe to Skerries, maybe to the southern region of Ladoga Lake, so that we could say and be absolutely sure that there are different groups which are located in different areas. And it's very interesting to see if we will have any matches or not. I think it's a great study, and we already have. The database is quite fresh, and that's why we could have a good quality data.